welcome to Warhammer Workshop. My name is Amy, and today joining me from the depths of the Gallow Dark, it's JF. JF, hello.
It is pretty dark here.
Yeah.
I think my lighting arrangement truly speaks grimdark.
That's good. So here we are with another exciting week of Warhammer content. I'm going to start by saying that I got my Warhammer Christmas tree ornaments today. They are phenomenal. I will say they are maybe a little smaller than I had imagined them, but I don't care.
They looked big in the photos, but I forgot that you have tiny elf hands.
Tiny hands.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely pictured them being like a size up in the pantheon of Christmas tree ornament sizes, but that's fine. It's fine. They're great. I love them. They're so dumb.
I've only ordered one for myself. I went for the squig because obviously,
it's a good
and I'm not gonna have a tree.
Yeah.
I don't have room, and my cats are feral.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. So they'll absolutely destroy a tree if I put one up.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of having the ornament and maybe hanging it from a ceiling. I do have a string of Christmas lights I put in my living room.
There you go.
On the ceiling, and from there I hang some ornaments. So it'll probably end up there.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good. Big fan.
I'm looking forward to it.
So this week we've got a few exciting new things coming. Just last week during the preview, we learned about the next expansion for Kill Team. Which I've already forgotten the name of. It's fine. Into the Dark. No, that's the next. That was the last.
No,
one.
that's for the first one. The next one
Shadow
is.
Vaults. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
We just learned about Shadow Vaults, and oh heck, it's already available for pre-order.
I think you and I kind of had an inkling that was coming.
Yeah.
And I don't blame us for not remembering the names. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these are generated with just grim dark keywords are randomly picked. Gallow, dark, grim, I don't know.
Yeah.
Coffers. It's just, whatever.
No, I know. It's definitely off of like a roll table. It's fine. Shadow Vaults.
Yeah, no, I usually remember the kill teams by the ones with the Corsair or the one with the Tau Pathfinder. I don't know the name. That's not true. I know which one's Morok.
So, things that are cool in this one. All right, so we get more Astra Militar models. They are lovely. Big fan. I mean, I'm not normally a fan of the Astra Militarum, so the fact that I think that these models look pretty cool is saying something. I have built all of the models for this box so far. And they went together real nice. A lot of extra bits. So many extra bits. Like
that's sort of par for the course for Kill Team because you can usually do a team that has a bunch of all the weird options.
Yeah.
And then whatever the vanilla, no frills attached version is.
Right. And you've got that with this. But it's also like a lot of extra heads and stuff like that too. And then there's the Necrons, of which there are much fewer. The two little buddies that come with them are excellent. But these were kind of a pain in the butt. Kind of a pain in the butt to build. I had one of the. When I went to prime them, I found out that one of their shoulder joints had slipped out, and so I had to pop that apart and glue it back together. And it's like the tiny wrist connection onto the weapon is not awesome. I mean, they're fine. They're just a little fiddly to build. And the ball joint in their waist, like between their legs and their torso, it's like real small. So you really gotta hold it till that plastic glue sets. It's fine.
I find one of the tricks I have, I use Tamiya plastic cement.
Yeah.
And what I do is I will put a little bit of glue on both pieces and let that rest a good 30 seconds for the plastic to really get gnawed on. And then I'll just glue them together and then they kind of jam, like they gel real quick.
Yeah. So but I mean, I get them together. They're fine. They're nice. They're a lot of fun. So things that are different in this box that are not in the other one. This is something that you found the day that we got the boxes. You were looking at the back of the box and you were like,
very excited.
Wait a minute, what is that? So there are robots, you guys. There are robots that are part of the terrain / scenarios. So there's 3 different ones. There's a turret bot that is part of the terrain, and it basically exists on its own. And the other 2, there's a transport one and one with like a saw blade on it. And those are controlled by a player in certain missions.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw them, I got really excited because robots.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get the time to really dig into the box and look at what these things did.
Yeah,
so I was very curious.
They help you out on your mission, and it's very cool. So it's like another added layer. We're into it.
Do you get like escort missions and things like that?
Yeah, or like there's one of them can carry things so you can retrieve stuff, because there's also other parts of the terrain. There's bombs, there's supply piles, there's all kinds of stuff.
Like, I'm not hating the idea of this slowly turning into a tabletop MOBA.
Yes, exactly.
You play Overwatch and have escort missions. And...
just like walk with the little robot.
Exactly.
I'm gonna every turn. Let's go.
I'll be glad to fail at either game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So in these hallways, right, that we'll also be able to play the new campaign that we talked about with the preview, the 40K. We had the someone on Twitter was like, you can fit a lot of orcs into 500 points, to which I said to you, what if you can fit a lot more of something else? And you built 2 really dumb lists.
Built 2 very dumb lists. One of them has Gaskell and I believe 40 Gretchens.
Yeah, 40.
Less than that.
I think it's
like
40.
very, very small. No, I think it's 2 units of 15 Gretchens. It's a ridiculously small amount of Gretchens all hanging out with Gaskell. And the other one is more thematic, is just grabbing, I think it's Zodgrot
yeah.
You know the one, the guy who specifically hangs with Gretchens.
Yeah.
Him and 2 runt herders, and then I believe something like 60 grots.
Yeah.
It may be 90 grots, actually.
It might be 90, and that would be amazing in the tiny hallway of the Gallow Darts.
How to take a 45-minute game and stretch it into 3 hours of having your opponent watch you move 90 grots.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, so that's like the most of what's added to this kill team. And then if you've got this box and the other box, you'll be ready for the 40K thing, and that'll be fantastic. Not all that we've got this week. We also got, like, out of the blue, the Adeptus Titanicus Matched Play Guide.
And that is a complete mystery.
Yeah. We don't...
I feel like it would be fun to be able to say, this is what this book is going to be, but...
Here's everything we know. It's 6 deployment maps, 5 of which are brand new, and a host of new primary and secondary objectives for Titan Legions and Knight households, and advice for running your own tournament, rules for doubles and narrative events, and rules references for weapons, Titan traits, orders, and psychic powers.
Now, on one hand, this is kind of exciting because, hey, new stuff. I like the idea of having ideas for tournaments and rules for running doubles. That's always fun.
Yes.
I sort of assumed match play rules were already part of the core rules for Titanicus, but my Titanicus box, it rests nearly untouched upon wherever I stored it. But at the same time, I so feel like Games Workshop is running out of steam on Titanicus the same way they're running out of steam on Aeronautica Imperialis. In fact, probably more so.
I'd say more.
Yeah, because Aeronautica Imperialis, there is still a wide variety of different planes or flying things they could add to the game to give it more juice.
Yeah, they're slow, but there's potential for growth. Whereas this, they've like... especially tying themselves into it being 30K, they're just sort of like, and here's a Titan whose head is slightly smaller. Yay.
Right, and here's resin versions of the resin Titans, but smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's great that we've got these rules, but I think that if they want to breathe new life into this game, they are going to have to do more than that.
Yeah.
Having the blue Titans fighting the exact same but red Titans with basically the same rules.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the Aeronautic Imperialist Horse Heresy supplement seems to infuse the different sides with more character than what you find in Adeptus Titanicus. I could be wrong, like I don't remember there being rules for specifically Death Guard allied Titans going up against I don't know, Imperial Fist aligned Titans. They're all just the Titan Legions and the Traitor Titan Legions. And it feels like with enough, metagaming, eventually this game is just going to boil itself down to one list that everybody plays against the same list. And,
it's not.
And that's a shame.
Yeah. We've also got a bunch of, and this is wild to me. So there's a bunch of Middle Earth strategy game models that are going to be available for pre-order. They're all metal. They're all old. Did they find a box in the back of the warehouse? Like, what have we done?
My theory is that there is a guy probably called something like Gerald or Abel or something who received back when there was this changing of administration way back when. Sure. He was told, hey, you need to cast these things. That was the task that he was given on that date, and he has been doing that task ever since. And they were renovating Warhammer World for a while. Like, there's a lot of things that changed. Like, the organization completely changed. Like, the CEO changed. Everything has been in so much turmoil. And I guess someone needed to store some paperwork, and they just stumbled into Gerald's office, and he was just casting camels.
He's just in a closet still casting metal, even though no one does that there anymore.
And no one told him to stop. He would just go in every day, just do his job. Like he's a workhorse. So now Games Workshop needs to somehow sell all this.
No, see, I think they made these going, everybody's gonna want camels, and then they did not sell. And so now that there's sort of some life being breathed back into the Middle Earth strategy game, they're going, now is the time for camels.
Listen, I went to play a game of 40K this weekend, last Sunday, and there was I kid you not, tournament for Lord of the Rings or Middle Earth Battles or whatever they want to call it these days. Yeah. And there were upwards of 24 to 26 people participating in this tournament.
That's awesome.
There were only 2 tables, and this, you gotta understand, like, the place where I play has a lot of tables, and there was only 2 left for 40K players. Wow. Everything else was taken up by Middle Earth people. So if you've ever wondered, like, where are they? I
Montreal,
found them. They are here. They are here, and they were having a great time. Like, they were super nice. Like, a lot of them just came by to see, because I have lights in one of my malls, and went, ooh, lights, so, because we're all idiots and children.
Yeah, so yeah, we are. Then comes what I feel is like the opening salvo of the holiday product season, because they do usually include this sort of thing in the holiday products. And it's a new line, updated, expanded line of Citadel
renewed,
tools. Yeah.
Rejuvenated.
Yes. So there are superfine detail cutters, which I just purchased a pair. They're from Japan. They were supposed to be great, and they broke immediately. Super sad about that. But these are like
that's quality.
Yeah, these are the itty bitty ones, which, given how efficient, we'll say, sprues are these days, you need the tiny clippers to really get in there.
I have in the past 6 months had to use an X-Acto knife to take things off of a sprue more than I probably have in the past 5 years.
Yeah. So these are going to help with that, because they're really packing them in now, which is good. That's good. I like that, but it gets hard to get in. Then we have an updated version of one of my favorite. I'm notorious for not particularly liking Citadel tools so much. Like, I feel like there are cheaper and just as good versions of pretty much everything. The only one that I own and swear by is the Citadel mold line remover. They have updated it and it looks kind of great.
Here's a confession.
Yeah.
I have somehow never gone around to getting a Citadel mold line remover. I keep saying I should. Whenever I'm at a store and I think, hey, now's the time, they don't have one. So I'm definitely going to get that one and correct that terrible mistake. Not that I've had any trouble. I usually use I have a trick with how I use my blade to remove mold lines very quickly, but that looks safer and more efficient. So
it is. And they've added like a little notch to it. It's much thinner than the old one used to be, which is nice for getting into tight places, which is where mold lines like to hide.
And we do have a lot of smaller, more crampy pieces nowadays than we used to have.
Exactly.
Like a lot of tubes, looping tubes that you want to be able to. And the loopier something is, the harder it is to get it with an X-Acto blade. Yeah. On the subject of the quality of the tools, I'm kind of riding on both sides of the line here.
Yeah.
Like, they are absurdly expensive compared to similar tools. Like an X-Acto knife is cheap. You can get those for almost nothing. Some stores will pay you to take them away. But and then Games Workshop turns around and says, like, I don't know, like $15, $20, $25 for an X-Acto knife and a bunch of number 11 blades that you can get anywhere. Yep. So on the one hand, weird pricing. On the other hand, I have tools from 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
That I'm still using, and I mean, they don't look new, but they work like new.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess the quality's there.
Oh yeah, no, they're good. It's just they're
not cheap.
My hobby dollar. They can enough of my money.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I can't say I'm enthusiastic about seeing what the price tag is going to be on those, because obviously it's going to be higher than I feel it should be. At the same time, I'm looking at the tools I currently use, and if I spread their usage over the more than a decade's time I've used them, they came down to pennies a month or less.
Yeah.
So whatever, have at it.
There is an updated knife with the handle does look pretty nice on this one. It's a little ergonomic, which I do, if I'm building like we do here at Warhammer Workshop, if I'm marathon building an entire army box, by the end, I do kind of wish that my tiny little X-Acto was a little more comfortable to hold.
There are some features for that X-Acto knife that are kind of interesting. One of the ones that's most attractive to me, because if you're using just an X-Acto knife that's just an aluminum tube that you screw in a blade into, that can get very uncomfortable very quickly. The one I have is a very old Warhammer Games Workshop Citadel, whatever you want to call it, X-Acto knife that's very ergonomic. The biggest flaw with it, like, it's got one of those big handles for big hands like I have. For bears who want to build models. But one of the biggest problems is that you have to sort of carefully align the blade with the direction of the handle, because it's not a symmetrical handle. Like it's and that's the same thing for that one. But apparently the way this one is built, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's just got like a slot.
It's just got a slot, and it's that. Cool.
It's nice, yeah. And their own drill. Which I like to think that they've like carefully chosen these drill bit sizes for drilling gun barrel. Like I like to pretend that, right? Because like I have a rather nice army painter one, that I do like, but the sizes are like, I'm either like, well, this one's too small and that one's too big, so I guess I'll use a too small one, and then just use the tip of my X-Acto blade like an animal.
So there's a couple of features for that one that are actually kind of exciting, especially for drilling gun barrels. The variety in drill bits is interesting. I always feel like a gaming company, if you really want to flirt with me by offering me a decent drill, like hand drill for hobbying, just triple the amount of drill bits you put in there.
So many bits, yeah.
Just it probably costs near nothing to have more.
Yeah.
Just overload me on drill bits because I will lose and break some. It's inevitable.
So that is one of the negatives on this one. Like my army painter one, the back of the handle pops off and you can put the drill bits inside it. It doesn't look like you can do that on this one.
No, probably not. I think they come with their own little case. But one of the features that seems to be interesting is the way you handle the drill bit. The handle remains stationary, and you twist a little knob, I believe, or something. And apparently there's a system that keeps it more stable. And when you're drilling gun barrels, that is important.
Key.
Because I mean, the best trick I have is to use an X-Acto knife and just drill a guide hole with it.
Yeah.
Just poke a little draw. But
I've used
one of the problems with
push
that
pin too.
Oh, I should do that. That sounds that's probably a lot smarter. Because the problem when using the X-Acto knife is that if you're using a fresh blade, there's a good chance you'll snap off the tip.
Yeah.
Like just a little. It has absolutely no impact on how well it removes mold lines or cuts through pieces. It's just annoying to know that you broke it.
Yes. So we might see more stuff when they do the holiday releases, because they usually do. That's when they put out the paint stick last time. That was when they put out the special handles. I wish they would bring back the old painting handles, because I do love them an awful lot, and the new ones are not great. And I have tiny hands, and I don't like the new ones because they're too small. So
I don't even own any of the new ones because
they're so tiny.
I'm like Yeti anatomy here.
Yeah, so I've got 3 of the old ones that I like hang on to preciously, including a red one, which paints faster.
I didn't get a red one. This is why I'm so slow at painting.
There you go.
But I have 5 or 6 of the other ones. What I'm looking forward to the most is, as anybody who doesn't need more models, is the army deals.
The army boxes.
There's gonna be army deals, and I'm going to lust after them, even though I have absolutely no use for them. And I'm gonna pretend, yes, I should buy one and make that my new army, and not do it.
No, we'll talk about it though, like a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll go back and forth. You know what we could do?
Yeah. No, you and I will build fantasy lists that we'll then forget about within a few months. Yeah. Speaking of army sets, there is going to be that army set that they previewed for Imperial Guards.
Yes.
Sorry, Astra Militarum. The more I think about it, the more I hate myself I'm probably going to paint the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Because it's been tradition for me with these army sets since Chaos Knights.
Yeah, you're into it now.
It's not too many models. I think it's 29 models.
That's not so bad. It's still a lot,
too bad.
though.
Yeah.
So we already know what the next Warhammer Underworld set is going to be. It's the Gnarlwood. We're joining Warcry where it is. But there's other changes coming to the game also that I'm into. So
the Underworld Twitter was very excited about those rules, and I don't play enough Underworlds, and I haven't really read the article. So enlighten me. What is so amazing about these changes?
All right, so here's the big thing, right? For a while there, we were doing really big war bands, right? Like 5, 6, 7, like more than that. Like there's a couple war bands that have actually too many people in them, but they did it anyway. And so you only have 4 activations a turn. And so the previous rule was once you had a move token, barring any other special rules, you could not move again. Well, with the new rule is that you will be able to move once more. You won't be able to charge, but you will be able to move. The other part of it is that previously, if a model had a charge token, you could not activate it again. Which for some of the smaller, and especially smaller and more aggressive, because they do tend to be that way, war bands, that meant you had like a whole activation where you were like, well, here we are. I guess I'll draw a card. But now, if every model in your warband has a charge token, you can reactivate one of them. So
but
that's
only if
nice.
they all have
if
one.
they all have them. So then, it's basically barring any, and they did say there are a few that are going to have weird rules, like Molog's going to be a little weird because he's got his own rules. The Soul Raid also does, and there's a couple other like corner case scenarios, but
I'm invested in knowing what Molog does.
Yeah. So that's actually going to be super handy because, if you've got even like the original Stormcast warband, right? It's 3 models and they're pretty good in close combat. So you're pretty much just going to run in with them. And so if you run in with all 3 of them, you charge an attack. Well, now you've got a turn where you can draw a card. And so this is like a real big change. And it's nice given that Rivals is now like the format. So you're no longer building decks where you're going to put in all these cards that allow you to do extra moves or reactivate characters or, perform an attack action, whatever. You're not building those decks anymore, really. I mean, some people are, obviously, but it takes out that need for the cards, which is super
Which means
handy.
you can put other cards that are more fun.
Yeah. And I'm into it.
Get it. I was mostly reading things about like objectives starting flipped over or
So the problem is that all started in there's a lot of stuff that started in like the last couple of expansions, which I haven't really had a chance to play, so I haven't really paid a ton of attention. I do know there are going to be snare hexes in this one where if you get stuck in them, you will be staggered, which means you can't. You get to reroll against attacks, which is, that's fun. So yeah, big changes, which I think is going to be good.
Sure, sounds exciting. I mean, I'm acting like I'm kind of detached from it, but I do play a bit of Underworlds. I just haven't played in so long that I feel distant from the game. I am looking forward to getting back into it. Yeah. I've got a couple of war bands that are half painted and waiting for my attention again.
Yeah, I know all about that. Yeah, so big fan of the Rivals format because it's like pre-built deck. Here you go. They're all designed to go work with each other.
I feel that there's a lot of simplification that can be done around the usage of cards for Games Workshop in general. I've talked about some ideas I have about how stratagems could be streamlined or made just more digestible.
Yeah. No, this is much better. Like now that Rivals is sort of the main thing, and even the other format, the Nemesis format, is still mixing and matching like pieces of pre-made decks. So that's way better than I'm going to buy this warband that I don't really want because it's got that one card in it, which that's the X-Wing model. And it drove a lot of people away from Underworlds. And now it's like, no, this is the one you want. Like you want this army? Good news. The warband comes in the box. It comes with the deck you need. Here you go. Fantastic.
And that's the thing. Like you want, and I believe Games Workshop is slowly catching on to this.
Yeah.
You want people to be excited about the product for its core value.
Yeah.
In the case of if I'm buying models, I want to be excited about models, and if I'm buying rules-less models, I want to be excited for how the dynamics of these rules work.
Yeah.
It's something that they actually mentioned in the preview that they know that when Vigilus came out, people were not super excited about having to buy entire book collections just to get a few rules here and there and a couple of stratagems for armies that they played.
Yeah.
And it does suck. If you want me to buy a campaign book, make an exciting campaign.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going for their next thing.
I don't blame them with the Underworlds thing because Underworlds came out during the heyday of X-Wing that worked on this model. And so it was like clearly a thing that people were doing. And so it's like, sure, that seems to make sense. Deck building. And we'll do that. It was like a first foray into an actual card game. So like they were following the industry model at the time. And I get that. And I'm glad that now that X-Wing sort of imploded itself a little bit, that they they have realized there are better ways to do it.
Yes, and it's kind of just going back to the fact that Games Workshop isn't Wizard of the Coast. They're not Fantasy Flight. They're not selling card games. Well, they are now that they are working with Wizard of the Coast. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to talk about Magic: The Gathering 40K edition at some point.
We will.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're going to do card games with your property, might as well just work with a company that's been doing it for a couple of decades and knows what they're doing, and stick to what you do best, which is models, and try to get better at what you do okay, which is rules.
Yeah. So yeah, Underworlds remains my undefeated favorite Games Workshop property, and they just keep making it better. Big fan.
I like the aesthetics. The rules are fun. It's a fun game. It still cannot hold a candle to how much fun a game of Aeronautic Imperialist can be.
We love a hex here at Warhammer Workshop.
I have something to do. Like I used to like Aeronautic Imperialist when there were no hexes, and there is actually value to how it used to be in the Forge World version. Everything felt so much faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. I'm eager to purchase yet another expansion of Underworlds that I'll play once or twice.
No, we'll get your money's worth. It'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it's the thing is with this box set is that they're worth it, even if it's just sort of models.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Whatever.
Yeah. So it's another exciting week here. I'm sure that we will have more news about more stuff for next week. But until then, happy hobbying. Materials shown in this video are provided fully or in part by Games Workshop for promotional purposes. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping us a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.